friends, what is up and welcome back. As you guys can tell, we are doing yearly wrap-ups. Some people's yearly wrap-up videos went up the middle of December, but I wanted to kind of save mine for January. Now I am filming this in the end of December because I just know that there probably aren't going to be many books that are going to be top favorites that I'm going to finish in the month of December. Also, if you follow me on social media, you know that I'm getting ready to move, so all my books are going to be going into storage from the end of January until the end of March, because basically what's happening is I'm moving from my apartment with my roommate to Rocco's apartment. And a lot of people are like, well, why do you have to pack them away? Like, can't you guys make space for them? And no, we really can't. When Rocco got his apartment, it's in an apartment building downtown, if you're familiar with Columbus. Those apartments are nice, but they are more on the smaller side because when he moved in, he was a single bachelor. So we don't really have room for a lot of my stuff that's going to be coming with me. The stuff that I can fit, we've already kind of made arrangements for, but all my books are essentially, and all my shelves are going to be going into storage. So from the end of January until the beginning of probably April, you won't see many videos from me. I'll probably try to do vlogs, a couple of sit-down videos here and there, but I just feel very discombobulated. If you are a creator and you have moved, or even if you're somebody who has moved in the past, you kind of know that your life sort of just gets thrown up in the air. And for me, a lot of my stuff is going to be packed, so I'm just going to feel very weird and kind of disjointed on top of the way 2020 is going and how I think 2021 is going to go when it comes to, you know, things that are happening in the world. So I'm not really going to be focusing on filming for a while. If I can, I will do videos. If I'm thinking about doing live streams, just things to kind of stay connected. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, that would be great. I have been doing more stuff for Instagram because it's very low key for me. It's easier to take photos and like post videos and reels. I'm doing the whole nine because it has become kind of like a passion project for me. Also, I have restarted my Instagram. I'm going to be deleting my main Instagram, the one that I normally use, the beginning of January, and then switching over that name to my new Instagram. So really excited just to get like a fresh start. I have been really struggling with like staying connected with people and feeling very overwhelmed, and the lack of engagement and not being able to see my friends' posts and people not being able to see mine. So I wanted to keep it more on the low-key side. So if you want to follow me there, if like we interact regularly, or you know, if you originally followed me on my main account, if you go to my main account, my new account is listed there. So anyway, that was a lot to say. The end of the year couldn't have come sooner, and I am really excited to talk to you guys about my favorite books of the year. So the first one that I have here is Crazy Stupid Bromance and Undercover Bromance. I'm actually going to lump these two together. I will say I liked Undercover Bromance a whole lot more. If you're not familiar with kind of what these books are about, they are romance books. A lot of the books on this list are going to be romance books. I'm really bad with character names, and my brain is kind of all jumbled and up in the air, so if I mess up a character name or forget a character name, please forgive me. I'm trying to not edit my videos. I'm just trying to do them in like one fell swoop. So basically, Undercover Bromance follows our main character, whose name I can't remember, shocking, and his love interest Liv, who is the sister of the main character from the Bromance Book Club, the first book. And basically he ends up working with her because she is sexually harassed by her boss, or she comes into the situation with him where she walks in on him sexually harassing one of her coworkers. So they kind of go undercover together to sort of take him down. I really like this book. It does have a lot of like a feminist feel to it, and I really appreciated that. I loved both of the main characters. I think that for me, these books are my favorite because of the banter and the humor, which is the same thing with Crazy Stupid Bromance. So for this one of the characters from the first one, who's actually like the hacker, ends up falling in love with the coworker of Liv's from the second one, who is being sexually harassed by their boss. So all of the characters from the books, as it tends to be in romance novels, are kind of intermingled. You know a little bit about them before you go into the books because they are introduced in, you know, pre-books, whatever the word for that is. I really like these books. I think they're funny. I think they're heartfelt. I love the characters. I love the banter, like I said. I love the overall plot of it. It does have a lot of like a feminist feel without it feeling really forced, and I definitely appreciated that. The next book that I want to talk about is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. This book was fantastic. I loved this even more than Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Dani, for me, is actually probably one of my favorite characters in a book ever. She is bisexual. She is definitely free love, very like does what she wants to do, believes that relationships don't necessarily exist, or they do exist but not for her. She just wants somebody to sleep with, and insert Zaf. Zaf is this ex-rugby player, and he has a very traumatic past. He does struggle with anxiety, which they address a lot in the book. Talia does an amazing job of addressing that. I thought it was phenomenal. And basically they get thrown into having like a fake relationship because there is an event that happens that gains Zaf a lot of exposure again following, you know, kind of like his fall from fame, if you want to call it that. But he works in a group with youth to kind of help them sort of understand their emotions and accept them and not look at them like they are negative. So they do start fake dating, and obviously fake dating is one of my favorite tropes, and it blooms into an amazing relationship. The reason why I really like this book is because of the juxtaposition of Zaf and Danny. Danny, like I said, is very free love, doesn't necessarily want a relationship, just wants somebody to sleep with. And then Zaf is very like a big cuddly teddy bear who wants a relationship with Danny but doesn't necessarily want to push her away. And I feel like with that and his addition of having anxiety and the way that Danny sort of handles that, I thought this book was all around a 5-star read, and I would 100% recommend it to anyone who does struggle with anxiety. The next book that I read is House of Earth and Blood, and I read this, oh god, a couple months ago, but it follows our main character Bryce. I actually have it here with me, and then our other main character Hunt. And Bryce lives in what I would call a futuristic New York, and Hunt is an angel that lives in that city. When something traumatic happens to Bryce and she is forced to work with Hunt and work with the angels to kind of track down the perpetrator of what happens, I don't really want to give it away, and I would 100% recommend not reading the dust jacket for these books and avoid spoilers as much as possible, because the book definitely ruins it for you. And I didn't know going into this book what the spoiler was, what the overall plot of the story is, and I think it was a lot better. But basically that is the premise of the book. Now this is definitely a stereotypical Sarah J. Maas book when it comes to, you know, like the relationships and kind of the dichotomy of everything, but Bryce is one of my absolute favorite characters, and so is Hunt. Hunt is very flawed, very stubborn, because he is an angel, and he is an angel that works for the angels under basically servitude, and the plot of the book is for him to work with Bryce to be freed from that servitude. So there is a budding relationship in this, as there tends to be in Sarah's books, but the reason why I like this so much is because it's everything that I love about Sarah's books, because I am unabashedly a fan of her. I think that for me it's just like a guilty pleasure kind of read, and I enjoy them. And so it was a lot of that, but in a setting that I love so much more. I love big city settings. New York City is my favorite city on the planet. I want to go again so bad, but I need everything to kind of calm down. But this book definitely had that feel for me, but it had all of the things that I really like from Sarah. So I loved this. I think the plot twists, I think the deaths in this book, I think the betrayals, everything was just so stunning, and 100% one of my absolute favorites. Now, getting into my last book, that would be Wilder Girls. Wilder Girls follows a group of girls who live on an island, and on this island there is this, I read this at the very beginning of the year, so pardon me if I fuck this up, but there is something that lives within them that starts to kind of change their bodies, and they are forced to stay on this island, and they're not able to interact with other people. Now, a lot of things start happening. There's a lot of betrayal, there's a lot of death, and they are attempting to get off the island, and they are attempting to, there's a couple main characters, but they are attempting to find their friend to be able to flee the island. That's just very basis what the book is about. Obviously, there's a bit of a larger plot happening here, but I don't want to spoil it, because it is one of those books that when you get to the end, there are really no questions answered, which I actually really liked, and I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy it. If you are a fan of Jeff Vandermeer and the kind of weird shit that he writes, I think you'd really enjoy this. But the reason why I like this book is because you're not supposed to like any of the characters. All of the characters are pretty like, I don't want to say cardboard cutout, but they're very bland in that what they are going through, the trauma that they are going through, you can definitely see that in the characters, and that is what I loved about the story. Now, I thought it was creepy. I thought it, you know, it kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies, but what I really, really liked about it was definitely that. Like, you get to witness their trauma. You get to kind of see them try to make amends within themselves about some of the things that have happened. There's a lot of loss in this book. There's a lot of friendship in this book. There's a little bit of a romance in this book as well, which I don't really want to get too far into, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it was beautiful. For me, I went into this book knowing that a lot of people didn't like it and that the ending was really unsatisfying for people, but I buddy read this book and I would recommend doing that because you get to kind of bounce ideas off of people, and it seems to me like maybe it is very complex, and that's what I wanted. It is a YA novel, but it definitely read way more complex to me than a normal YA novel would, and because it was so out there and so different than some of the YA novels that I had read throughout the year, I just truly enjoyed it. It came at a really good time and I had a blast reading it. So I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, but I 100% did. Let me know what you think of Wilder Girls down below because, like I said, it's a very polarizing book and I would love to know. But those are my top 5, technically 6 books of the year. Like I said, let me know down below your favorite reads of the year. I think that this year has been really hard for people, and if you read a book that was like a shining light for you, I would love to know what it is. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye.